Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived an old toy-maker named Geppetto. His days were filled with the joyful sounds of hammering and sawing as he crafted wooden toys that brought smiles to children's faces. Despite the happiness his toys brought to others, Geppetto's heart ached with a deep sadness. He yearned for a child of his own to fill his life with love and laughter. One day, as he strolled through a nearby forest, his eyes fell upon a peculiar piece of wood. It was smooth, sturdy, and seemed to have a life of its own. "This is the piece I've been waiting for," he exclaimed, his heart skipping a beat. "I'll make a puppet so beautiful that it will dance with joy." With the wood clutched tightly in his arms, Geppetto hurried back to his workshop, eager to begin his work. As he placed the wood on his workbench, he heard a faint voice that seemed to come from the very depths of the material. "Ouch," it whispered. Startled, Geppetto froze. Did I imagine that? He wondered, his heart pounding in his chest. But as he continued to work, the voice grew louder, saying, "Ouch," with each strike of his hammer. "Am I really hearing things?" Geppetto asked himself, his hands trembling slightly. With focused determination, he carved and shaped the wood, and soon the outline of a puppet began to emerge. As he worked, the voice continued to whisper, and he realized it wasn't his imagination playing tricks on him. This was no ordinary piece of wood. It was alive. Finally, with one last stroke of his chisel, he completed his masterpiece. He placed the puppet on a chair and stepped back to admire his work. Just then, the puppet suddenly leaped off the chair and began dancing around the room. "Oh my goodness, it's alive!" Geppetto cried out in astonishment. Overjoyed by his creation, he scooped up the puppet and held it close. "From this day forward, your name shall be Pinocchio," he declared, "and I shall be your father." Days turned into weeks, and Pinocchio thrived under Geppetto's loving care. He played, learned, and explored the world with the wonder of a child. However, when it came time to attend school, Geppetto realized he didn't have any money to buy Pinocchio books or supplies. With a heavy heart, he took his only coat to a nearby market and sold it for a few coins. He handed the money to Pinocchio and said, "Use this wisely, my son." Pinocchio skipped happily to school, but on his way he spotted a group of boys playing near a circus tent. Distracted, he stopped to watch them, and before he knew it, the bag of money slipped from his hand and fell to the ground. Startled, he bent down to pick it up, and that's when he noticed a clown approaching him. "Hey, you dropped this," the clown said with a mischievous grin. Although Pinocchio tried to explain, the clown cut him off and said, "You look like a funny guy. How about joining our circus?" Before Pinocchio could respond, the clown had already grabbed his hand and pulled him into the tent. Pinocchio's eyes widened in amazement as he witnessed the most incredible puppet show he had ever seen. The puppets danced, sang, and told stories, and Pinocchio couldn't help but feel a sense of longing in his heart. Suddenly, a tall man with an authoritative presence approached Pinocchio. "So you have a living puppet," he said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "Just imagine the fortune we could make." Without giving Pinocchio a chance to speak, the man signaled to two strong men who led Pinocchio to a cage and locked it. Inside the cage, Pinocchio felt a surge of fear and sadness wash over him. He missed his father and the familiar surroundings of his home. As tears streamed down his face, a gentle voice echoed in the cage. "Pinocchio, my dear Pinocchio." Startled, Pinocchio turned around and saw a beautiful fairy standing before him. "Who are you?" Pinocchio whispered. "I am here to help you, Pinocchio. But remember, only good deeds can truly save you," the fairy replied. With a wave of her magic wand, she vanished. Determined to escape his confinement, Pinocchio put all his strength into kicking the cage. Suddenly, it swung open, and he found himself in a dark and narrow tunnel. Without hesitation, he crawled through it, hoping it would lead him to freedom. On the other side of the tunnel, Pinocchio stumbled upon a large open field. In the distance, he could hear the laughter of children and the sound of music. Drawn by the joyous noise, Pinocchio began to walk towards it, unaware of the danger that awaited him. As Pinocchio approached the source of the music, he saw a group of children gathered around a wishing well. One of the children suggested that Pinocchio join them in making wishes. "I wish I had a donkey instead of a tail," said one child. "I wish I had wings to fly like a bird," said another. When it was Pinocchio's turn, he hesitated. He thought of all the wonderful things he could wish for, but his mind kept returning to his father, missed Geppetto's warm hugs, and the sound of his gentle voice. With a heavy heart, Pinocchio wished to be reunited with his father. In an instant, a gust of wind swirled around Pinocchio, carrying with it the scent of his father's workshop. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he found himself in the cozy confines of Geppetto's workshop. Overjoyed, Pinocchio ran to his father and embraced him tightly. "Oh, Pinocchio," Geppetto exclaimed, his voice filled with disbelief and joy. "You're back." And so Pinocchio returned to Geppetto's loving embrace, forever cherishing the bond they shared. He learned that the true meaning of happiness lay in the warmth of family and the power of their unwavering love for one another. From that day on, their lives were filled with joy, laughter, and a profound sense of gratitude for the gift of their love that had brought them back together.